Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we will learn about SDLC software development lifecycle. So make sure to watch that video till the end and don't forget to subscribe the channel for upcoming lesson. Okay, so the software development lifecycle is SDLC. Basically we know that. So SDLC stands for software development lifecycle. It is a process used to develop high quality software step by step. SDLC defined different phases involved in software development from requirement gathering to the maintenance phase. Okay, so the why is a software development life cycle is important and why is it required? So the software development life cycle is a very important to develop any project. Okay, and why is it required? Because development software systematically reduce project risk, improve software quality, and deliver project on time, and manage development properly. So these help to develop the project, and that's why it's required. It's very required to design and develop any project. So we have a phases in this software development life cycle. That phases is very important. So the all phases will cover systematically and step by step. So there is a one phase of the SDLC, requirement gathering. So requirement gathering and analysis. In this phase, business analyst and client discuss project requirement. Team understand what the customer need, feature required, and business goal. Example, let's suppose the client have a plan in mind to develop a project like online shopping or online application. Okay, so in this phase, this all requirement would be covered. And the second thing is a planning. Second thing is a planning. So in planning phase, budget is decided, timeline is prepared, resources are allocated, and project feasibility is checked in the planning phase. Why is it required? Because everything should be planned. Okay, everything should be planned. So, and the third phase of the SDLC life cycle is design. So in this design, in this phase, software architecture and design are created for application. Okay, so design include like UI design to the client, because the client is required ABC type of design. Okay, then system flow of the application, database design, and application structure. Okay, means the all team will be involved in this design phase, and they will design accordingly as per the most of things we covered as per the client requirement. Okay, so in this design phase, these are must, this should be covered. Now the fourth phases of the SDLC is a development like coding. Okay, so developer start writing the code on requirement basis and design document. This is the actual software development phases. I will explain everything in architect. Okay, how this system is work. Okay, so the fifth phase of the SDLC is testing. Once developer develop the feature, they deliver to the testing team. After that, the testing team verify whether the application work correctly or not as per the client requirement. Okay, because most of the requirement is covered and the all team is involved and they work accordingly to the client requirement. Okay, then after testing there is another phase is the deployment. Deployment means after successful testing the application is released to customer or production environment. That is called is deployment phase. Okay, most of the deployment is come into the picture after testing. Once testing is done and the testing team is sign off the build, then the deployment team, they will deliver the application and feature to the production environment. Means the customer will see that application and they can use easily in a production. After that, there is a one and last phase of the SDLC is maintenance. It's a very important phase in this SDLC life cycle. So in the maintenance phase, after release the application, may it's required. Why is it required? Bug fixes. Maybe there is any bug in the production environment. Okay, so they will fix the bug. They assume some slowness of the application, so they will work on this application improvement of the performance and the new feature update. Like after the analysis, they come with a new feature, so that new feature will be added in the application, or maybe they will enhance that feature. Okay, so that's why the maintenance is very important part in this development life cycle. Okay, now simple real-time example I will share to you. Suppose a company want to create a food delivery app. Okay, food delivery app. So the SDLC process will be like, there is a most of thing will cover, like gather requirement, plan project, design application, develop feature, test the application, release to user means customer, maintain and update regularly. So these all phases is covered in this phase. So it's a simple concept of the SDLC life cycle, and we called as a flow. So this flow I will show you and will create a structure type of diagram. In this diagram you can easily understand like how design the SDLC and what we will do in every and each stage and each phases of the SDLC. Okay, so and there is a one more thing we need to add there. What is the advantage of SDLC? Okay, so the advantage of SDLC, better project management. If the all phases will cover every team involved, they will give 100% as per the requirement. We will give a better project, and it would be a better project management with each team, and we will deliver the improved quality. That's why the advantage of STLC it's very required, because everything is depend to the quality. If we delivered a buggy project to the client and the customer using that application, they face a number of things, means the client will break the trust with the team, with the IT company. So that's why we are mainly every team is focusing improved quality, and each member would be involved to provide a good quality of project to the client. And the third thing is a reduced cost, because why is that, why it's required to reduce the cost? From initial phases of the client, they will set of the amount of the project, and the analysis in requirement analysis and phases, the team will involved and they will clear the all things. So reduce the cost is very important. Faster delivery. Okay, so if the client want any feature on today, like today, everything they decided in previously. So as per the planning, we have to deliver the project as per the date which already decided with our team and with the client. Okay, And last is a better communication. Better communication means during the development life cycle, all team involved together and there are n number of communications so that we can deliver a good project. There are no communications should breach with the team members and team like a developer develop the project as for the feature as per the requirement they develop a feature, so testing team have some doubt, so they should collaborate with all each team, developer to tester, tester to developer, so that communication should be in this development cycle so that we can produce good quality of project and fast delivery. That's why better communication is required in SDLC phase. Okay, so this is a very important part of software development life cycle. So the software development life cycle workflow diagram is, so this is a diagram where the all phases is involved. Okay, that I'll create it like in systematic way so that the learner can easily understand. Okay, so first is just a requirement gathering and analysis. We understood like understand customer need, collect the requirement, analyze the document. Okay, so in a meeting with a analyst, uh, business analyst, so the client will collaborate with them and they will discuss the all requirement and the analyst will collect the requirement, analyze the document. The second thing is the planning, define the project scope, estimated time and cost, allocated resources and feasibility analysis. So in the third thing is a design. So in the design phase, the all team will be involved. The system they will create a database design, system architect design, UI UX design, and technical design. So behalf of the design development, the developer will start to write the code as per the requirement and as per the design document. Okay, so they write a clean and efficient code, follow coding standard, build the application. After development there is a fifth phase is a testing. So when the feature is delivered to the testing team will start to test. So the test the application, find defect bug and report and track bug, ensure the quality, like whether the application working according to the client requirement. Then the sixth phase of the SDLC is deployment. Once the everything is signed off, they will deploy the feature in a production environment, release to the end user, to the customer, and it's a live. Basically the deployment, once the deployment team will deploy the feature, it would be live. Okay, then the seventh phase of the SDLC is the last phase of maintenance. There the monitor the system, fixes issues if there are any issues they have find out in a production, so they will fix, improve the performance if they observe any slowness. Okay, they will improve the performance and add the new feature as per the analysis of the production. Okay, if they want to analysis and upgrade the application, they will do in the maintenance phase in upcoming phases. Okay, so the entire workflow and entire life cycle will work step by step. If you missed any step in between, it means we will not build a proper project, we will not develop a proper project, we couldn't provide a good quality product to the client. Okay, so that's it in SDLC workflow diagram. So in SDLC there is a lot of models where the companies is working. So one of the model of the SDLC is waterfall model, with a type of software development life cycle. There is a number of model we will explain day by day. Okay, so the first model is waterfall model. The waterfall model is a linear sequential life cycle model in software development. In this model, each phase must be completed before the next phase it begin. It is easy to understand and use work well for a small defined project. So there is the phases is involved in this graph. Okay, so the requirement analysis, the collect and analysis requirement that we already covered in SDLC workflow. Okay, the second phase is system design the system architect implement the code developer write the code as per the design as per software requirement document. Once developer is developed the feature, they will send the build to the testing team, then testing team start the testing, like test the system and fix defect whether it's working as per the client requirement. Okay, then the fifth stage is a deployment. In this deployment cycle, they deploy the system to the production environment and it will be go live so that the end user and customer can use the application. And the last is maintenance and update the system. Okay, so in this there is a key point of the waterfall model. This model is easy to understand and simple to use. It's suitable for the small project with a clear requirement. Changes are difficult to make after a phase is completed. Okay, phase are completed one after another. No phase can be started until the previous phase is completed. Means we cannot any changes in this development in this waterfall model, because until the one phase is not completed we cannot work in another phase. Okay, so the waterfall model is a traditional software development life cycle. The next phase start only after the previous phase is completed. There is a very little flexibility for changes, so it is called a waterfall model because the process flow downward like a waterfall. Okay, it means the water is flowing downward direction, so like a waterfall. So there is the phases, six phases we already discussed in this video, like requirement analysis. In the requirement analysis, collect the customer requirement, understand project needs of the client. System design, create a software architecture and design. Okay, implement and coding means developer start to code and write to code. After that, there is a fourth phase of the testing. Testers check the application whether it's working, the all requirement is met in this application, bug are identified and reported to the dev and all the teams. And the fifth phase is a deployment, application released to the user, to the customer. The application would be live so that end user can use, maintenance the bug, fix the bug and provide update after release. Okay, so simple flow is the requirement, design, coding, testing, development, maintenance. So this is a very important waterfall model. Most of time in if the somebody is want to become a QA, so the initial phase they have to ask the software development life cycle in interview. Even with the waterfall model they have to ask. Okay, feature of waterfall model, like sequentially process, simple and easy to understand. Documentation is important in this model. Each phase is completely fully before moving forward. Okay, until one phase is not completed we cannot move forward in this waterfall model. So that's the beauty of this feature. Okay, so the advantage here, like easy to manage, simple structure, work well for a small project. So this model in the industry most of the people is using only for the small project, and the documentation is a very clear. Okay, so there is have some drawback of this development life cycle of waterfall model. In this model, like there is a disadvantage, like changes are difficult after the development start. Means the development is already started, the team is working, so the client is come at that time they want to change some requirements, so it's not possible. Okay, no suitable for complex project. Means if any big project or there's a very complex huge case this application, so this waterfall model will not suitable for that application. Testing happen late. Okay, so in this model, though the tester is not required at the initial phase. Okay, so initial investment is less since the tester are hired at the large state, at the testing stage only they required. Okay, so preferred for the small project where there are requirement of freeze, every document is freeze cannot be changes. Okay, so high risk if requirement is changes means one, firstly the requirement changes is not possible in between of the team is starting and developing of phases. Oh, if the changes is happen, so high risk if the requirement is changes. Okay, so this is a beauty of the waterfall model. Real-time example, suppose a company want to develop a small project, a small school management system with a fixed requirement. The team should have like collect requirement, design the system, development the application, test it, release it. This is a waterfall model approach. Okay, so mostly this model the industry is using for a small project, okay, where there's less requirement. So this model is not used for the big and complex project. That's the beauty of this waterfall model. So there is another model of spiral model. The spiral model is a drawback of waterfall model. Okay, so this spiral model is is a risk-driven software development model. It combines the iterative nature of prototyping with the systematic and control aspect of the waterfall model. So the waterfall model we called as a drawback of the waterfall model. Okay, so in spiral model you can see the graph of this spiral model workflow. Okay, so it is every cycle produce a new feature with a new feature like enhanced version 1, like version 1, version 2, version 3, version 4. Okay, and spiral model is a iterative model. Every cycle release a new version of project. We follow the spiral model whenever there is dependency of the module. Okay, let's support the example like a Gmail example. Okay, most of the people is already using the Gmail, so that's why I consider the Gmail as example. So like Gmail compose a mail. If we are sent a mail to any person, so that mail will be appear in sent model. Okay, sent feature. So if it's not sent to the any person, it will show in a outbox. Okay, so every feature is dependent. So we follow the spiral model whenever there is dependency of the module. Okay, so in every cycle new software will be released to the customer. So there is the first flow is that determine objective alternative constraints. Okay, here we can say that identify the objects. Okay, find alternative solution in this planning. Second is risk analysis. Identify and analyze risk, evaluate risk, plan risk, mitigate. These all things we will cover in SDLC, software testing lifecycle, when the testing will come into the picture. So SDLC is a development lifecycle. Okay. So third process here is develop and verify engineering. Means develop the product, design and coding, verify through the testing, generate a prototype. Okay, and the fourth phase is plan next iteration. Review the result, plan the next iteration, and decide whether to continue or stop. And how spiral model work? Okay, so the spiral model work. See, so determine the object, then risk analysis, identify, analysis, mitigate, then develop and verified, and test and validate the project, and plan for the next iteration. Okay, so this spiral model is a drawback of waterfall model. It's used best for the large complex project. Each cycle added more functionality allow changes in every iteration. In waterfall model, we cannot change if we are working the phases, but in this spiral model, we can changes is allowed in every iteration, more flexible than waterfall model. Okay, so testing is done in every cycle before going to the next cycle in this model, and the customer will get to use the software for every model. Means once the one iteration is completed, it will release to the client. Client will use, and if they want, they can add a feedback, whatever thing. If the client decided, they can add the feedback, they can enhance the feature, or whatever thing, they can share the feedback to the team. Okay, so requirement changes are allowed after every cycle before going to the next cycle. Okay, once one cycle will be completed, we can change the requirement next cycle. Okay, so see, you can see the iteration. Okay, so there is cumulative cost, increasing risk, so the risk will decide in risk analysis. And iteration, like see, iteration 1, iteration 2, iteration 3, iteration 4, iteration 5. So this is a process of the spiral model. Okay, so this process will begin until the software is not completed. Okay, so this is a beauty of this application. This is a beauty of this software development life cycle. Okay, so this application have a good feature and we can use in a complex project. Means high enterprises application in industry, and the large project, complex project we can use. Okay, and the we can say that spiral model is a software development model that combine a waterfall model and iterative model. So means both model, it's combined in spiral model, waterfall model, and iterative. It mainly focus risk analysis, continue improvement, repeated development life cycle. Okay, the software is developed in small phases called spiral or iteration. Means each cycle will produce uh, and its work as a iterationally. So means every cycle will produce a feature so that client can use, and they can share a drawback feedback to the team. Okay, why it's called spiral model? It is called a spiral model because the development process move in a spiral phase. Okay, so you can see there's a phase is a like a spiral. Okay, so each spiral represent one development cycle. Risk is analyzed, product is improved, next iteration start. Okay, so each spiral represents one development cycle. So there is a planning. We already see in an image of the workflow of the spiral model, like planning, requirement are gathered, object are identified, alternatives are discussed. Risk analysis, there is a most important phase, like identify risk, analysis problem, create solution to reduce risk. And the third is engineering development. In this phase, coding is done, feature are developed, testing is performed. Okay, means developer and tester team all is involved, and the developer is developed the feature, tester is testing the application. Okay, well, then the fourth one is the evaluation. The customer review the product, feedback is collected. Means one cycle is completed, we have to share to the customer, so feedback is collected and improved are planned for the next spiral. In next spiral, we will implement with improvements with the feedback. This is a flow of the spiral mode: planning, risk analysis, development, evaluation, and repeat. One iteration will complete, then it will repeat. The feature of the spiral model we already discussed, but we can see again: risk driven model, iterative process, flexible for changes, customer feedback in every cycle. Okay, once every cycle is completed, we share to the client, and customer will feedback in every cycle. Suitable for large product means this model we can use for the large project which is complex enterprises application. Okay, advantage better risk management, flexible requirement changes, continue customer feedback, high quality software suitable for the complex project. Disadvantage expenses model means this model have a high cost during the deployment, so that's why it's very expensive model. Complex management require risk analysis expert means the risk analysis person and the expert will be involved in this model. This spiral model is not suitable for the small project. This model only the use for the biggest project, biggest application which have a complex use case and heavy workflow. Okay, so real-time example, like suppose a company is developing banking software, military system, large enterprises application. In my last organization I worked there, so they are use large enterprises application, so we work in this model, we follow this model. Okay, so these project have a high risk, complex requirement and frequent changes, so company use the spiral model. Okay, so there is a difference between water and spiral model, waterfall model and spiral model. This is a interview based question. Most of the company is asked during the interview. Even though when I was prepared for the interview in initial phases, so they have asked to me what is the difference of waterfall and spiral model. So waterfall model is a sequentially process. Spiral model is iterative process. Changes are difficult in waterfall model. Once one phase is completed, okay, the changes is not possible in this model, but changes are flexible in this is spiral model. One iteration cycle is completed, we can gather the changes or the improvement we can implement in the next cycle. Okay, risk less risk analysis in waterfall model because this model is used for the small project. Strong risk analysis because the spiral model is used for the high and big project. There is large and complex use cases, and waterfall model is best for the small project and best for the large project is a spiral model. Okay, so that's the beauty of the spiral model. It's a very important model. Please understand the each phases in this and how it's work. And in interview most of the company is asked during the interview time. Okay, so spiral model is a very useful and very important model. So the one of model V model diagram. So this model is VV model, verification and validation model. Okay. V model means verification and validation model. It's the full form of this V model. So the V model is a software development where every development phase has corresponding testing phase. Testing activity start early in the development process. Means from starting to end, every phase there is testing is involved. Okay, so there is two layer. One is a verification phase like left side, second is validation is a right side. So the verification is processes which is in left side means verification check whether we are building the right product. So in this verification phase, focus on the documentation and focus will be on review part. After that we will focus on static testing technique used in a verification. Okay, in right side we have a validation phase. So in validation we will check actual software as per the customer specification, which one check the product is right or not, it's designed as per the client requirement, okay, or not, means the actual software we will test in validation phase, and the all diagram, all the documents we will review and we will test in verification phase. Okay, verification done before project and user for documentation. Once the verification is completed, then the validation phase will complete. Means done after verification and use for actual software project. Okay. Validation, whether check or building the right project, take place after the verification are completed. Focus on the software, not in a documentation, and dynamic testing used in a validation. Okay, so the verification and validation will cover. So mainly focus in VV model. So there is all phases from starting to end until the product is deployed to the customer environment. So requirement analysis, like understand and analyze the customer requirement. System design is overall the system architect design, means complete system will be designed in this design phase. The designer means the design team will be involved, the architecture team will be involved to design this system. And the third phase is architectural design, means design module and the system structure. Design module and the system structure. Okay. Then the fourth phase is a model design, detailed design of the individual modules. In application, like n number of modules used, so n number of modules will be designed. Detailed design will be involved in individual module. Once the verification is completed, the last phase of the verification phase, in between of validation there is a coding. So in this coding, the developer will write the code and implement the code. Then the validation process will be start unit testing, test individual model and units. Then once the unit testing will be complete, we will test the integration testing, test integrated model and interface, whether means the integration, the workflow is working accordingly. If we are clicking on home button, the home feature will be appear in this application. So that will be testing, integration testing. System testing, test the complete integrated system in the system testing. Acceptance testing is validate the system with a customer requirement. Acceptance means a UAT, the customer requirement we will validate in the system. Okay, that we will cover in this phase. So left side verification, right side is a validation. So the most of things, the verification focus on building the product right, include review and checks, ensure we are building it correctly. Right side validation focus on building the right product, includes testing the product, ensure it meets customer needs. Okay, means key point of this model, each phase on the left has matching testing phase on the right. They help early detection and high quality software. So this model, it's a very useful model. I already work in this model also. This model my current company is using. They are working accordingly as per the VV model we are following. Okay, so in VV model, like it's a every development phase has a corresponding testing phase. Testing actively start in the development process. So the structure is called VV model. Okay. So verification we already covered, like verification we are building the product correctly. It's mainly focused on document design, requirement and review process. Validation, once the verification is completed, we will test the actual software. Okay, we are building the right product, focus on actual testing, software education and customer requirement. Phase of V model, like left side verification, requirement analysis, we already know, like understand the customer requirement. Okay, we gather the all requirement as per the customer, then we will design system, overall system architect design. Architectural diagram means the high level design, and architect will be used. Model design, every each model detail have a design, and after that, once the designing phase is completed, we will implement the coding, developer write the code. And the right side validation will start whether we have built a correct product. Okay, so it's working as per the customer requirement. We will test the unit testing of the individual module, integration testing, test integrated whether the all integration, all module is working, it's integrated. If we are clicking on the home button, so the home feature will be appearing in the application. If we are clicking on the contact button, contact feature, the context things will be appearing in the application. So in this integration part, we will check the all integration things. System testing means overall of the application test, complete flow of the testing we will cover in the system testing. And acceptance testing validate application of the customer requirement, whether it's worked accordingly and design accordingly. Okay, so the simple V model flow, it's all things is it's collaborate together: requirement analysis, acceptance test, system design, system testing, architect design, integration, model design, unit testing, coding at the bottom of center. Means in the image we have seen that the coding is a part of bottom center. Okay, so it's the work, it's a workflow of this VV model. And feature of V model, like testing start in early phase. Every phase is required a testing. Each phase has a testing activity. Better detection, defect detection means if any issues we have find out during the verification review process, so we can detect it easily in the initial phases. Okay, simple and structured approach means the documentation is very high level in this. So the advantage of this VV model, like high quality software, early bug detection, better testing coverage, easy to manage, and suitable for medium sized product. Disadvantage of this model, like difficult to handle changes requirement. Okay, if the changing is happened in the requirement, it's difficult to handle, less flexible, not suitable for a very complex project. Means this project also not suitable for very complex project like enterprises application where there's heavy use case or very complex product. So I think this model is not suitable. Okay, so real time example, suppose a company develop a banking software, healthcare system, payment application. Okay, where quality is very important and the testing must be strong, then company may use the V model. Mhm. There is a difference of waterfall and VV model. Like waterfall model, testing start after the development, and in V model testing start early from day one. From verification phase we have started testing in each phases. Less testing involvement in waterfall model, strong testing involvement in V model, because the tester is involved from the initial day one. They will understand the requirement, they will test, review, the all thing will be happened there. In VV model, sequence process. In V model they are working as per the verification validation. Detection is late in waterfall, early bug detection, because we will review the document so we can detect the early bug detection. Okay, in VV model. So bug detection is late in the waterfall model. Once the actual software will build will deliver to the tester, then tester will test. But in this V model, the tester will involve from the starting phase, requirement analysis phase. So they will test all documents and everything will be reviewed. Okay, so there is most of the design document is used, high level design, low level design. So like in this VV model, okay, there is a approach that I will explain to you so that easily we can understand by easily. Okay, so there is the VRS document, business requirement specification, and other is document CRS, customer requirement specification, and third one is URS, means user requirement specification. So these document business people understand easily, not technical. Means the software tester, software developer couldn't understand these document. Why? Because these document will be understand by only the business person. Okay, so this document conduct understand by the like couldn't understand by the developer and tester, only understand by the business people. So the document BRS is business requirement, CRS is customer requirement specification, URS user requirement if specification. So then the developer is design and write the code as per the SRS, means software requirement specification document. This document understand by the technical person. This document designed by project manager or the product manager. Okay, if you are working for the in product, so the product manager will be design this document, like we can call as software requirement specification. So there is a high HLD, means high level module, low level. High level there is a use case scenario involved with the entity diagram. Okay, and low level like basic requirement the client has written there, but the project and product manager they will design and they will share with the developer and tester. Okay, so review, in this review phase BRS team ensure document correct and completeness. Means we in this phase the requirement analysis and the review phases also happen to ensure that the document correct and completeness. So in this phase, like there is two type of testing is involved. static testing in left side and dynamic testing in right side. So the left side means static testing. The project related document is called static. Whatever document is used, okay, in this project, it's called as static testing. So in this form of review, walkthrough and inspection means the team will be review and walkthrough and inspection in this static testing. So the project related document is called static testing. In this static testing and other is the dynamic testing. So the dynamic testing will be happen in a right side because the testing the actual software is known as dynamic testing. In under unit testing, regression, system, unit, acceptance come into the dynamic testing. Okay, so this thing is involved here. Okay, so unit testing is what? Like unit testing test by the developer and its testing is known as a white box testing because most of the manual tester don't know the coding. So the unit testing is performed by the developer only. Okay, internal position of the program known by the developer because the code is write by the developer, so developer will understand the code and internal logic what they have built, so they will test the unit testing. Okay, integration testing is also performed by the developer in code workflow. Okay, so this in the system testing means overall testing will done by the tester. Okay, this testing done by the tester and it's come in black box testing. So in box data like output means whatever the developer is developed as per the software requirement specification as per the client requirement, so the tester will test whether it's working accordingly to the requirement. If it's not work, they will raise a bug and send the bug to the developer for the fixes. Okay, in acceptance testing, like the UAT will be involved, user acceptance testing. This testing done by the tester and customer is known as UAT. It's also part of black box testing. There is alpha testing and beta testing. Okay, will be involved. We will uh, cover in next upcoming videos. Okay, so the all thing we have covered verification phases. The verification used for like the all document we will review, ensure the document correct and completeness. In validation, we will test and complete the application whether it's working, actual software is working accordingly to the customer requirement or and it's designed as per the customer requirement. Okay, so these phases we have covered verification and validation in this life cycle. So advantage of this application testing is involved in each phases. Okay, so this is a very good things in the development cycle, like the testing is involved from initial phase to the end so that we can easily detect early detection of the any issues if any misses. Okay, we will cover during the review. So this is the advantage of this application. Disadvantage like documentation is more, investment of is more in this VV model. Okay, and take lot of time for the documentation because in this model a lot of time we will explore and we will ways to design and write the documentation. Okay, so this is a very used for not for very large application but medium type of the application, but it's a very good model. I already have experience in this VV model. I already worked in this model. So in this video we have covered software development life cycle, and there is the model waterfall model, spiral model, VV model. These three important model we have covered. In this upcoming video we will cover the agile software development life cycle. So explain the all entire thing in agile, how it's working, how the industry is working on agile model. And if you required and if you want all the notes, you can comment in this comment section. I will share. I have prepared the all detailed documents with a diagram, so we'll share not in a document phase. So thanks to watch this video. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel for upcoming lesson. Thank you.